But in that, oh, geez, I got too far off. My freight train just completely derailed, sis. Help me out. Yes. Oh, how embarrassing. All right, move on because it'll come back to me.
Welcome to Real Siblings, It Ain't Easy, a real estate podcast with the goal to educate, inform, and save their listeners time as they navigate the market and properties in their neighborhoods. Get ready to join real-life siblings and professional real estate advisors, Donna Reed and Eric Seemann, as they discuss how it may be simple, but it ain't always easy.
Of Northwest Ohio to the desert sun and the coastal.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Real Siblings. It Ain't Easy, a real estate podcast that just ain't typical. If you listen to the one we did for a couple of weeks ago, you're going to know that we've been gone for a while and now we're back. We hope consistently. I'm Donna. This is my brother, Eric, and we are real siblings. We're both professional realtors with Keller Williams, and he's in the San Antonio, Texas area, and I am in the Tucson, Arizona area. We hope that our podcast blends lifestyle along with some real estate knowledge, not just what we really like to talk about, which is life and times, I think. We both work to educate and let our buyers and sellers and you all know, as well as entertain you a little bit about what's happening in the real estate market. Our topics vary. We can go tangential now and then.
Tangential.
Tangential. It's a good word, huh? But we work to provide our listeners with insights into the industry, which hopefully will better equip you for your next real estate transaction. And with that being said, I'm going to do some promo. Do y'all remember when I wrote my book, F Words? Maybe not.
We have new listeners who've never heard of your book before.
You didn't know I wrote a book called F Words because we have new listeners. So 2024 already, Eric. Damn, 2025 just went by. I finished it in the fall. And the writing of the book has taken me to a point where I am working a little bit like my brother does to get certified to teach continuing education classes here in Arizona based on F words of our industry. For those of you that don't know, in Arizona, we have to get 24 credits every 2 years. And depending on if you're a broker, it could be more different things like that. Eric actually teaches and has taught new people that are getting licensed in real estate. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about a couple of, should I do air quotes, our favorite F words? I don't know if I'd say favorite, but we're going to talk about foundation.
But since you're using an F word to describe F words, we'll just go with it.
Favorite. That's true. Favorite. Yeah, it's hard. There's a bunch of them. It's like recognizing the car next to you when you have that car. So, we're going to talk today about foundation and fiduciary.
Or fiduciary.
And fiduciary.
I've heard, look, pronunciations.
Pronunciation. Don't even say that. Come on.
I've heard people talk about it and pronounce it different ways.
I'm sure.
And it's like, I have a fiduciary responsibility to you. And it's like, what?
Okay. Long eye or short eye? We're going to talk about what we're responsible to do.
The ringing in my ears is either tinnitus or tinnitus. And there's no official correct pronunciation for it. I've checked with numerous. It's like.
So, Eric, I sent you a variety of words that I'm working on.
Yes.
For a 3-hour class. And you suggested we start with these two. What made you choose these two?
Well, number one is because fiduciary is a pretty big distinction from a relationship standpoint. And we talk about the relationships that we have with our clients, whether that's buyers, whether that's sellers. And it's like, look, all you're doing is helping them sell. All you're doing is helping someone get a pretty house. You're not the lender. You're not doing it. All you're doing is opening doors and making people happy.
Right. No biggie.
Hence the name of our show. It ain't as easy as all that. And when we create a relationship, and here in Texas, because each state gets to do real estate law differently, I have two forms that are linked to every single one of these podcasts. It's on every single one of my social media platforms. It's on every single one of my websites that I have to link on every single one of my emails that I send out. It is that important from the Texas Real Estate Commission standpoint that people understand who I am, what I do, and how I do it. That's why we have to post what's known as the information about brokerage services and the consumer protection notice everywhere. When we get into that relationship and we actually sign an agreement, and I always joke when I teach this, it's like, it says agreement. We want everybody to feel really good about it. But when I sign it, when you sign it, when the party or parties on the other side, that's legal language, that is and creates a binding contract. And we become the employee of our client, whether we are helping them buy or whether we are helping them sell. And the fiduciary responsibility is that we put their needs, desires, and goals above our own. Highest level of agency relationship that you can have. And that's important, which is why fiduciary went with me. And when I looked at the other words you had, because you had 5 words that you picked out for your program, and
5.
I have my hand up bigger. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, not 6, 7, but 5. Foundation. It is that agreement is the foundation of our relationship with our clients, regardless of everything else we have to do. So that's why those 2 words came out to me, because foundations are intrinsic in the house, and the foundation is completely different turned around, but it's the basis of our relationship and how we work with and interact with our clients.
Yeah. And from a foundational perspective, in the last few years, the buyer broker agreement has changed with what we have people sign. And that thus our listing agreement too. Our agreements are now the rental and the sale document are the same for us. There's just different boxes we check, and they used to be 2 entirely different documents. And when people sign those, we're committing to them and they're committing to us, right, Eric? I mean, think about that, right? It's a
contract, and it's one of those that it's easily severable. I'm sure in your area, in your market area, there are people who advertise on the radio. And when they do, it's like, look, and you can terminate it anytime you want. Guess what? That's true of all of us.
Right.
They can terminate whenever they want. Written notice can be as much as an email. My first termination was verbal. And that's one of the ones I was my first full year.
Wow.
When that happened. And I was so glad, because this was one of the most racist people I can remember working with.
Wow.
Thank you. I'm glad you let me go, because I was a new enough agent at the time going,
need the business.
I'm just going to push through this and I'm going to make this work. But stuff, comments, tones, side conversations.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me go.
Yeah. That's a tough place to be. And like you said, especially when you're brand new. Or I don't know what your market is, but I'm part of a national realtor group that I sit in on. And the woman from Chicago is talking about how they're gone. If you don't buy what you want right away, their market is hot, hot, hot. Some of the Carolinas are that way. We're not.
We're not.
No,
we're not either. And there's a lot coming on the market. I had 2 listings in the last 2 days. 2 very, very different markets, despite the fact that they're both single family residential. Both of them are by lakes. One of them is by Medina Lake, which is a puddle. Even though it's gone up to 10% full, that means it's still 90% empty. So it's not like you're boating and sailing and fishing and everything in it. Canyon Lake, which is where the other one is back up to where it's about 60% full. So still 40% down from what normal is.
Wow.
But those two different transactions within 24 hours of going live within our primary multiple listing service, 355 properties came on the market.
Wow.
New.
Wow. And so from a foundational perspective, part of what we talk about here is a buyer's agreement, a listing agreement, and a conversation with people. Do you do the exact same thing with everyone, regardless of whether they're first-time buyers or 10th-time buyers? Think about Dan.
Ooh. Well, there's a certain amount of it that, we have we have all of the forms we have to sign. Aside from that basic agreement, you've got the other stuff. You got disclosures on this, you got disclosures on that. But generally, yes, it doesn't matter whether you've gone through this before. Doesn't matter. I'm the one who does it every day.
Yeah.
Not them.
Yeah.
The listing that I just made live today before we started recording is someone who's been in the house for 3 years, and she had her license, and she just can't believe how much has changed. So here I am dealing with someone who was a real estate agent. She only bought her home 3 years ago, and we're going through all the documentation. She goes, I can't believe. So from that aspect, I guess, yes, it doesn't matter, because what I do day in and day out, someone else does once every 4 years.
Yeah.
We joked the last time we recorded that it's like, oh my gosh, how do I shut this off? How do I do these things? And we're both looking at a system because it had been 3 months
since we recorded.
since we had been recording. It's like, how do I press the button and make that happen? So if you don't use it, you lose it. So yeah.
And so from a foundational perspective, somebody used Dan, what was his wife's name from Ohio?
Dan and Amy.
You grew up with. Dan and Amy. So people that came to you kind of in a back door because you knew of them, because their older brother had been a good friend, and those kind of things. And you ended up doing a couple of deals with them, and
Correct.
Maybe 3, I don't even know. So here comes somebody that you have a genuine relationship with, and then they buy and they sell, and they buy and they sell, and it's easy to assume that people know what's going on. And I got a text yesterday from someone that said, we've never responded to a Binzer, but it seems like we should, yada, yada, yada. And bottom line is, I'm going to tell you, they had already done a bunch of the work instead of responding with, we're willing to do this. So it felt like past tense to them. It was just a really, really interesting conversation.
Okay. Do I need to call a timeout on that? You said the language there.
Buyer's inspection notice and the seller's response. So the buyers had done an inspection. They had asked the seller to do certain things. We had to wait for 8 days for the city to do something, which is already 3 days past our regular time frame. And during that time, he did a bunch of work. So now they wanted us to answer as if the work was already done. But the people, we had never told them we were even going to do it. It was just a weird thing. And my point in that is, we have, it isn't one document. It's not a one-page thing. It's a bunch of documents. It's a bunch of back and forth. And from a foundational perspective, if we don't prepare them for all the steps, I call it like a volleyball game. Okay, now the ball's in your court. Now you're hitting it over there. It's in their court. And this could happen, or this could happen, or this could happen. It's the same way with building a house, right? If the foundation isn't done well, doesn't matter how pretty the walls are. It's, the
house is going to come tumbling down. And we have talked foundations in past episodes. I'd recommend, if you haven't, go back and listen, because soil composition makes a big deal on foundations, and I have to deal with a lot of different things from a foundation standpoint on the structure than Donna has to deal with out in Southern Arizona. I live on a hillside. I live in a pier and beam house that is a manufactured home, but it is solid rock. I have rock on top of rock
You made your sidewalk out of the rocks.
Contact with concrete, pillars, or pilings and steel straps. I mean, it's a big deal. And it's not going anywhere. But there are areas in the city with what we refer to as expansive soil. Clay content has a lot to do with that. If it dries out, it dries up, it contracts, and it sinks. And that allows the foundation to sink. And if it rains a lot, it gets wet, it swells, and it pushes up, and then it dries out. When you live in a climate like we have, in conjunction with the soil composition, foundation is a very, very, very serious issue. A couple of years ago, I had a house. It was a single story, large house, 3,000 square foot, single story. Had enough foundational issues. It had already been repaired once. It had been repaired a second time because they pinned the perimeter, but they didn't lift the inside, and the inside continued to settle. So it was doing what they called dish panning. They went back in and supported the interior, but it was still settling. It was that bad. The solution that we came up with is a foundation company that I'll use the name. It's called Ramjack. Not affiliated in any way. This is not a commercial. But what distinguishes Ramjack from other companies is they screw a steel post into the ground based on ground penetrating radar, which allows them to determine where the bedrock is and how tall that. Wow. Because when you hit bedrock, you're not going to keep lifting the house up and down. But it was $130,000, even after they'd already done 2 foundation repair issues.
Wow.
So that's a foundation story.
Well, and I think I might have told you, this has been many years ago, one of our mid-centuries downtown. Somebody took the carport, made it a room, happened to a ton of them, that didn't have any parking.
Sure.
Except that they put a massive fireplace on the outside wall. It was pulling the room away from the rest of the house. It was like one of the worst ones that I ever came across. And I think that the point in that is, from a foundational perspective, it's like everything. You don't start out running the mile at the fastest pace, right? You have to foundationally build up your strength. It's like it can be used. I don't start out speaking fluent French. You start with the basics and stuff. And that's what we do, and what hopefully our years of experience give us. I'm not saying that there aren't things that arise that have never happened before, because there are definitely things that come up.
Every single transaction is different. Every single transaction. I had to call title today because this house that I just listed was bought by a single lady under a different name. She is now married, coming up on their first anniversary. The house is listed. My question was, number one, how do we need to list her legal name to make sure that that's clear? Because all of the original contract documents and everything are out there. Her previous name, Peterson, now Fielden. But I was asking what level and what I needed to have the husband do and sign. Now, had they been married and not lived in the house, he would not have to sign documents. But because they moved in and he has now lived in the house, in Texas law, he has a right and needs to be listed as a seller of a house that he didn't buy. But now, because of, and had they not moved into it, that would have been different. So that's specifically why I called and asked the question today, going, okay, just explain me this.
Yeah.
I'd never run into that before, where someone had the name change afterwards. And like I said, it only became in place had they lived at his farm and gone out there rather than move into the house, then he wouldn't be on the documents.
I think also for me, it's funny what in this kind of a conversation to think back through everything. I have one right now, actually put it under contract yesterday. Thank God. And it's a trust. The woman passed away. So now these adult children are handling it, but they didn't have a checking account in the name of the trust. And you have to be able to put the money from the trust proceeds into the trust, just so the things that you do learn over time, which instead of waiting until the day before closing and then going, oh, we didn't know, we can't give you, your funds, those kind of things.
It's like your funds are going to have to be held here until you get this sorted out.
And I want to switch to fiduciary because full disclosure, fiduciary is hard. I don't want to be an attorney. I don't even want to be a broker. It is super hard to just give someone the facts and not want to give an opinion and not want to roll your eyes. And because our job is to advise.
Yeah.
And then it's still their choice. And
if you have that client relationship or agency relationship. If you don't, they're just a customer, and customers get treated differently than clients.
Yep. And for some reason, I thought about this. I've been helping at music camp this week, which is Bible school on steroids for music. And there's two little kids who, part of what we had to sign is that we can't touch or hug, or two people to go to the bathrooms, all the safe sanctuary things, right? And there's two that are, frankly, my therapist's kids who always hug me. And I was there when they were checking in. And I looked at Mom and I said, we're supposed to sign. She goes, you can hug my kids anytime. And I thought that, but I'm in a whole different scenario than just standing outside in the courtyard or going to their house for Christmas or something like that.
Where they come up and...
So even, especially if you're working with friends and family, that line is very, very precarious to balance, in my opinion. I have a sort of passive aggressive client.
It is. Having a business relationship that's strictly business, that you had no previous relationship, is easier than going in because, look, we're real estate agents. Well, as soon as people find out we're real estate agents, oh, so how's the market? That's an opinion. Like, the market's the market. Oh, don't get smart with me. Don't get snarky with me. What's going on with the market?
Our job is to interpret.
So when you're in casual conversation like that and you answer a question, we kind of wire our brains to, if you're out with somebody, and of course, everything's changed in the last 3 years. We're at that point where we've got another new set of forms that just came into effect. And new forms
related to concessions or commissions,
sweeping changes across 15 different forms related to what we use in all and every type of transaction that we've just gone through the most recent change.
All I wanted to say is, as I'm working on this program with my coach and the words, and just so you know, Eric, we've been playing around with foundation and fiduciary and foresight and follow through. And if you have foresight, all those things. But I have joked that, thus far when I've done things, it's been fun. I can do whatever I want. When I did this last year in Lindsey, I was telling a story. So teaching, you have to hope that they learn something, and you better have some detailed knowledge
that they can take and apply.
And I joked with I've said it to many people because I did this for a little half-hour thing at my office. I said, dang, I have to really know the rules. I have to do what I'm supposed to do. It can't just be Donna blabbering about it whatever she wants to do.
Whatever she wants and wherever she wants to go.
Yeah. The responsibility is there, and protecting. If you know that your clients will lower the price by a certain amount, you're not allowed to just say that. And do your contracts say that now? Do you have the whole, you can tell them what our other...
Oh, yeah, we have the confidentiality in there. And it's like, look, confidentiality is one of those things that in Texas survives the transaction.
Yeah.
So I even go so far with my clients saying, so there's a certain amount of personal information I'm going to become aware of. It's inevitable. Doesn't matter what that is. 3 years down the line, something goes on and you're like, there's only one person who knew that besides me or us. They can go back, and that's why these forms that I presented at the beginning, this information about brokerage services and the consumer protection notice, Here it is. This is how you report. This is my license number. This is how you say Eric breached his fiduciary duty to me in the realm of confidentiality because of this.
So
what can I do?
Our timer is popping up here, to tell us that we should be wrapping it up. But I think it's important, and hopefully we can, continue with a couple of the other words down the road. But I hope that people understand, listening to this is also part of the reason you should hire a realtor. It's part of the reason you should hire a professional and not just say, I can do it myself. I was talking to Nessa, and she called me about selling a property. And I said, Nessa, I'm surprised you called me. She goes, I don't know anything about houses. I don't expect you to do vascular surgery because and I'm like, okay, right. But there was so much truth to that statement that this person who is super educated still didn't know anything about selling a house. It wasn't even in Texas at this point. It was,
well, and she's a vascular surgeon. You're not going to talk to her about a neurological problem.
Right. Exactly. We have our arenas. So,
and it as bad as it is, and as much, since we're onto that medical side of things, specialties. A nurse is a nurse. And I tell you what, people find out that Jeannie's a nurse, and it's like, oh, let me tell you this. And she's supposed to know about obstetrics. She's supposed to know about, you name it. Because you're a nurse. Well, nurses know those things.
Right. Some of them, but not so much. All right, brother, why don't you wrap it up?
Well, we want to thank you for joining us again and listening to this episode. We spent some time talking about F words, fiduciary and foundation, two things that are very, very important from a relationship standpoint, from a structural standpoint within our industry. Just scratching the surface. We got a lot we're responsible for. Please remember that we are both professional real estate agents. I'm with Keller Williams Heritage in San Antonio, Texas. Donna is with Keller Williams Southern Arizona in Tucson, Arizona. We are both able to help you and provide you information in our local market areas. And if you need assistance finding a real estate agent somewhere else in the United States or around the world, please reach out. We can help connect you and refer you to a perfect real estate agent who will meet their fiduciary responsibilities and create a foundational relationship with you in locating and moving wherever you need to move. Until next time, I'm Eric.
And I'm Donna.
And we are Real Siblings.
We're not getting any better at that, Eric.
4 years in and approaching 100 episodes. We'll get it eventually.
There you go.
Bring down home care to your big city keys, to Midwest hearts in the Southwest scene. We treat every house like it's our own hometown dream.
Hi, I'm Annabelle, and I want to thank you for investing your valuable time in listening to Real Sibling. It Ain't Easy. I hope you found this episode informative and enjoyable. There are several ways you can support this podcast with my Grandpa Eric and Aunt Grandma. Please take the time to like, follow, and subscribe. Additionally, leave them a 5-star rating along with a review on your preferred podcast platform. The final thing I would ask is that you recommend this podcast to a friend, a family member, or an associate. Your engagement is critical to their ongoing success, and they look forward to connecting. Check out the show notes Grandpa put together with their contact information, including emails, phone numbers, and website. And remember, the Real Siblings look forward to hearing from you.